All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This webinar will be about newborn sleep, very exciting topic. My name is Marijke. I'm a baby sleep coach, and I'm here together with Evelina, who is a mom empowerment coach.
Hi guys, very nice to meet you. We are here today. In fact, it's our second out of 3 webinars free of charge that we are holding just for you. And they are held in frames of our project, Sleeping Like a Baby. And the aim of this project is to empower all of you moms who have problems with babies who cannot sleep. And we want to send you a message that it's not as difficult as it might seem. It's just about doing some steps. And that's why Marijke is here, who is an experienced baby coach, and she will teach you what to do and how to do. And I'm here to talk a bit about how to become more self-confident, how to listen to your intuition, how to get rid of guilt. So we hope that together we will empower you as much as possible.
Yeah, so before we dive into newborn sleep, I will first like to introduce myself. So my name is Marijke, and I became a baby sleep coach basically because I had my own experience with the baby not sleeping. When my daughter was born, in the newborn phase, she didn't have a problem, but directly after that, she decided she didn't want to sleep. And I didn't know much about sleep. So after 2 months of not sleeping, I started to feel very guilty and very insecure as a mom because I thought I was doing something wrong, and also I just became insecure because I was sleep deprived, but also because I didn't know what else to do. And my husband and I decided to sleep train her when she was around 6 months, and this really, really changed everything. Like within 3 days, she was sleeping beautifully on her own when she needed to sleep. And this change was so quickly and had such a big influence on how I felt as a mom that I decided to get certified myself as a baby sleep coach in order to help other parents that go through this to get the sleep that they need and that their baby need as well.
Well, regarding myself, fortunately, I didn't have such problems with my baby's sleep. Well, my baby is now 12 years old, so he's not a baby anymore. But since last 5 years, I've been empowering women who are looking for themselves, because I remember that when I was a young mother, there were so many expectations from society, from family, from friends, from everywhere. And actually, I was not sure who I am and what does it mean to be a good mother. And it really helped me at that time to work with my own coach and to just realize that I'm good enough the way I am. So after my baby became a boy and then a teenager, I decided that it's time to empower other women, other moms, and to show them that actually they're good enough the way they are. And I'm so happy to meet Marijke because together we are creating an amazing package, which is called Sleeping Like a Baby. We will tell you more about this package later, but we see that it really helps other moms to see outside the box and to learn that sleeping is not as difficult as they thought before.
Yeah. So if we jump into newborn sleep, I think for me, having a newborn baby, especially if it's your first baby, and then so your baby's born, you're still trying to recover. You're getting to know your baby. It's a completely new situation with your husband or with your partner. And then a lot of people already in the newborn phase started to ask me, how does your baby sleep? Is she already sleeping through the night, or does she nap well? And it puts a lot of pressure on a mom. And especially if your baby doesn't sleep very well, it just can make you feel very, very uncomfortable. So if you're a new mom and you're experiencing this, it's not your fault that your baby's not sleeping. And also you don't have to listen to what other people say. What we really like to do and with our project is also to make you feel secure and empowered to make your decisions and not what, your family wants or the neighbor tells you to do. So let's talk about newborn sleep. Newborn sleep is completely different from sleep when babies are older. So there's a very big change when your baby is around 4 months old. And this is when their sleep kind of develops and matures, which means that in the newborn phase, so the first 12 weeks, sometimes 16 weeks, it depends on the baby, your baby's sleep is not matured, it's not developed yet, meaning your baby is literally not able to fall asleep on their own. That's just not something they can do. And as a new mom, this is very good to realize, because it's okay to help them a little bit, right? So if your baby likes falling asleep, on your boob or just on you, in the first couple of weeks, this is completely okay, because their brains are not able to understand how to fall asleep by themselves. And this has to do with a lot of things. So it's basically there's no wire, let's say, from their brain to their body and the other way around to tell them, we're tired, we need to sleep. But there are also no hormones yet to help them fall asleep. So the hormone that helps us fall asleep is called melatonin. We probably all heard of it. And babies only start to develop this when they're around 8 or 9 weeks old. Before that, they don't develop it. So if you don't develop the hormone, it's also harder to, fall asleep by yourself. The first 3 weeks, very cool, they have maternal melatonin. So when they are born, when they're still in the womb, they get melatonin from the mother, which they bring with them when they are born. And the first 3 weeks, that's how they sleep so much when they're very, very, very tiny, because it's literally your melatonin that they have inside of them. So this means in the first 3 weeks, often newborns sleep a lot, but also they can sleep however you feel comfortable. Like, it needs to be safe, of course, like don't have them in your bed, but if you like to cuddle them and they fall asleep while you cuddle them, then that's completely fine, as long as you don't fall asleep yourself. And for husbands, this is often a very nice time to have the baby, sleeping on them for a while, so they can also bond with the baby. Because for us women, we had them with us for 9 months, so it's easier somehow to bond in a way, I think. So realizing that, up to 8 weeks, they don't have this melatonin also kind of makes it okay to be way more hands-on when they're younger. And sometimes in some cultures, people tell you not to do that. Some of my neighbors said, like, just put your baby in their own room, close the door, let them cry. That's how they learn to sleep. That's definitely not true. That's never true, but it's definitely not true in the first couple of weeks, just because they're not able to. They're physically not able to. So as a mom, just realize that, it's okay to be more hands-on. And it's definitely something that your baby needs. They need to feel loved, especially in the first couple of weeks. And that's why the newborn phase is so amazing, because you can actually, give them the love that they need, but just being there for them when they need to sleep. So that's kind of the first point that's very important. What you can do, though, in the newborn phase about sleep is to work already on kind of healthy sleep habits. So in that way, we're talking about a good sleep environment. But there are 2 other things that will really help your baby sleep well. And I would like to talk about those right now. So the first one is you can swaddle your baby. Now, this is another controversial topic a little bit, as in some cultures it's really normal to do, and in other cultures people think it's ridiculous and nobody does it, right? If you would like to swaddle your baby, but everybody tells you you shouldn't, that can be a little bit hard. And that's one of the things that we are very strongly thinking of, is giving people, more information about sleep. Because if you feel secure about what you know and how to help your baby, you can also be secure as a mom. So the reason why swaddling is so good for a baby is because of 2 things. So the first is that babies, when they're in the belly, when they're in the womb, they have a very, very small space. And they've had it for you know, their whole lives, the space they have in your belly is very small. So this makes them feel very comfortable because that's all they know. They only know a small space. After they're born and you put them in, you know, their cot, or even in, if you put them in a bassinet, it can feel quite big for them. So by swaddling them, you make them feel more comfortable because you're recreating what it felt like when they were in the belly. It's a very natural way, a natural feel for them. And another really good benefit of swaddling is that you help them to not get the startle reflex. So the startle reflex is also called the Moro reflex. And this is basically, all newborns have it. Some babies have it more than others. But they basically kind of startle or scare themselves by loud noises or sudden movements, but also by sudden movement from themselves. So if they suddenly move their arms, they can get scared of this and then have like the startle reflex. And the startle reflex, it makes them feel like they fall. So they get scared. Babies do not control their arms yet. They have no idea that their arms are attached to their bodies. So they kind of fling them around all the time, not knowing that they're doing that. If they're sleeping and they accidentally start to fling around with their arms, they can wake themselves up because they get startled from, you know, their own arms. If you swaddle a baby, they will first feel comfortable because that's, you know, a small space is what they're used to, but also they won't be able to, you know, scare themselves with their own arms because, you know, you put their arms nicely in a swaddle. So it's a very comfortable and easy way to make them, you know, fall asleep and stay asleep longer. One thing, if you do swallow your baby, always put them on their back. Always have them sleep on their back because that's the only safe way to use a swaddle. Yeah, so I have a lot of clients always that are very skeptical about using the swaddle, mainly because friends and family are not using it or telling them not to use it. And I hope that, you know, by this bit of knowledge, you'd feel a bit more empowered to actually try it with your baby, because it's very, very powerful, especially for the babies that are a bit more sensitive. It will really help them to, yeah, sleep better and feel more secure. And the last point is also mimicking a little bit the womb, is to use white noise. So babies actually really do not like sleeping or being in a silent space. They do not like it at all. The reason is that since they were in your belly, you know, they always heard a lot of noise because they don't just hear the outside noises. They also hear your blood going through your arteries. They hear your stomach making sounds if you're processing food. From whenever they can remember sounds, basically. So I don't know when their ears grow in the belly, but when their ears starting to, you know, function, that's when they heard noises. So babies basically have never been in a silent space until they were born. And somehow our Western society decided that babies need to be in a silent space. Babies don't like that. So by just putting white noise on, you already make them feel so much more secure and comfortable because that's what they're used to. Another really cool thing that can help is to sing for your baby. Because as your baby has always heard your voice, like the voice of mom, because, you know, obviously you're always there. So babies, if you talk to them silently or sing to them softly, they love that because it makes them feel comfortable and they will actually calm down by just hearing your voice, which is a super powerful tool and super nice. Obviously you can't sing throughout the night, but you could if you want. We don't want that. So that's why white noise works better, but you can actually try to sing for your baby or like silently talk to them, and they will calm down. You will see that they will actually respond really well to you, because that's also something they've always heard. They are very used to hearing your voice, and that's what calms them. So that's really nice. So to recap, basically, sleep in a newborn phase is extremely different from sleep after the newborn phase. And it's because your baby has not been matured enough to know how to sleep. And therefore, you can be way more hands-on in the newborn phase. And it's okay to sometimes, feed them to sleep or cuddle them or have them in the pram or, like whatever you want really and what makes you feel comfortable. Follow your heart and do what makes you and your baby feel fine. Babies, newborns really like to be swaddled because it makes them think of how it was in the belly, as well as with white noise. Actually, you're mimicking again how it was in the belly. So I think it's good sometimes to realize that your baby was already in an environment for 9 months and that is what they feel comfortable with, and then just suddenly being in the world can be very scary for them. So giving them like that little bit of memory of how it was in the belly can really help them to calm down.
Marijke is talking about methods and solutions which are not so popular, at least not everywhere. And when I look back to the days when my son was born, and as I said before, it was 12 years ago, I remember there were so many stories around what is good, what is bad, how should mother behave, how should mother not behave. And today I would like to draw your attention to cultural and social definitions of an ideal mother. Yeah, these stereotypes that we grow with since we are kids, and stereotypes that are being repeated by our grandmothers, mothers, aunts, friends, society, whoever. And if I ask you, what is a stereotype of a motherhood in your country, in your city, in your family, I just wonder, what would you point out? Yeah. In other words, what is expected from you as a mother? Even if these words are not unspoken, if there are things that you just, don't hear anywhere, you can say that, you can feel it in the air. It's tangible. You know what I mean? So it's important to answer these questions to yourself so you understand where the pressure is coming from. And once more, I want to stress that it's not always spoken out. It doesn't have to be like, direct pressure from your mom, from your aunt, from your friends, from whoever, but it's more about this inner feeling, or, you just feel what you are expected to be, or who you are expected to become. How are you expected to behave? Yeah. So I'm talking about it because the pressure also relates to our babies. There is this expression, sleeping like a baby, and actually it means to sleep very well. But, I was always wondering, when having my own baby or when listening to my clients' stories, where the heck does it come from? Like, their babies are not sleeping great. My baby was also not sleeping super extra, yeah, in the beginning especially. So, yeah, and moreover, correct me if I'm wrong, but we also like things to be the way we want them to be, yeah? We feel safe when things are under our control. We feel great when people behave in the way we would like them to behave. And here you have this innocent wee creature who is completely opposite, yeah? It has his own agenda. I mean, like, to be clear, it doesn't do anything on purpose, yeah? It's not that your baby is mean or something, but the fact is that it's not acting the way you would like her or him to, yeah? So after we are done with our webinar, I would like you to invite you to take a moment to think if all these 3 methods that Marijke mentioned you have tried, and if not, would you like to try them? And what's more important, what are your feelings behind it? Yeah. So if you will act from the level of pressure, expectations, my need to control, then you will lose a lot of energy and you will also go through a lot of emotional stress. But if you approach your newborn like as a human being who needs just, parental support and time to adjust to this new amazing world, then your approach will completely change. And remember, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Like, problems with baby sleep, they're very common, and it doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you are a human being with human problems which are solvable. And how do I know they're solvable? Because together with Marijke, we work with women like you who struggle with things like that. And if you want to learn more, you are really welcome to participate in our third free webinar, which will take place next Tuesday, same time. And if you think you might need more help, more support, you are very, very invited to participate in our 12 weeks bootcamp called Sleeping Like a Baby, and where we'll be focusing on, you know, step by step on helping you to have a sleeping baby, which will obviously lead to you sleeping better. And we will also work on empowering you as a mother and as a woman, help you to get rid of this, you know, guilt feeling, and teach you some tools to let go any stress in any aspect of your life. So we are putting the link below to our bootcamp, and feel free to contact us before signing up, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Anyway, I hope to see you next week on our free webinar, and let us know by sending a message if you want the link to next Zoom. Would you like to add something, Marijke?
No, I think, you know, it's exactly very important to realize that mostly as a mom, you know well what's, you know, good for your child. So it's better to listen to yourself than to listen to your mom, basically, or your neighbor or whoever. And that's a little bit what we would like to do in our project, you know, to help not only with the baby sleep, but also with how to deal with that and how to feel and how to be the best mom that you can actually be. And I'm very much looking forward to get more into that.
Cool. So I guess I see you next Tuesday then.